Hi again, this is Mike, the Philosopher Engineer. We're still in May of 2020, kind of wrapping up the month here. Today's topic is multiply growth. We've been focused all month on prepare for growth, and that might be a real thing. If your company makes products or you're involved in manufacturing, I really feel that you're going to see a lot of growth ahead. So let's talk about growth. So last time we talked about growth by addition or growth by multiplication. So today's topic is multiplied growth. That's Mike's executive conversation. Really want to talk about how to get the most um, out of your plans for growth. Now, the conventional way of growing a company is you anticipate maybe 20 or 30% growth or maybe something less, and maybe you have to hire more people. So, 20% growth and you hire 20% more people, possibly something like that. And that's one way to expand. But whatever we do in terms of growth, we're duplicating what we already have. So whether it's our process or our structure, our teams, or even our culture and the way we operate, we're duplicating what we have. So we have maybe on a scale of, so-so, maybe it's mediocre, or maybe it's really high performance and everything's on all cylinders. I think there's almost always room to improve. And there's a lot of key levers. I want to touch on 3 levers that kind of affect product development in a big way. And some of these are, it's not as tangible as maybe, how you do analysis or calculations or some of the things we talk about in terms of proactive engineering. But the people side's a big deal. I say engineers are people too. Every person is unique. Every engineer is unique as well. And it takes a lot of awareness to put together the right teams and the right combinations. So the 3 big things I want to talk about in terms of growth, rather than just adding on, is to improve performance. Because if your whole system operates better, then when you duplicate it or expand it, you're getting a multiplication benefit. Anyways, so right people, right process. I've talked a lot about process, and the key in process in our model is that the process is proactive. We're trying to understand problems ahead of time. We go looking for problems. We find failure modes. And so in the whole technical side of our work, there's a whole model or process to help us identify problems, to be proactive, and to go a lot faster. So we accelerate our development. The other part, though, is how do you organize the people that are doing this work? And there's different team structures. I've talked a lot about Scrum. Software engineers often use Agile, and that is your team structure and the way your cadence and the way you interact and communicate, gather data, and make decisions can accelerate your process. So there's the technical side of your process, and then there's sort of the team dynamics, and you really want to get a lot out of that. And I often refer to Scrum, and we use that process for good team engagement. And there's certain values and principles there that really facilitate great collaborative, not just a collaborative spirit, but really a collaborative effort to work together. And there's an efficiency there to be gained. So think of each of these as a gain in efficiency. You might gain, I've talked about 30 to 50% faster, better performance with confidence. You can do better than that, but it gives you an idea, how much is this worth? If your company could operate at 20 or 30% better performance, how much is that worth? How does that help with your company, how you're standing in the market, maybe the confidence in management or investors in what you're doing? So 2 things. So the process from the technical side, how do we actually run the project proactively? Second is, what is that team structure? And the third is really related to the culture of the whole company. It's one way it's described as engagement. So employee engagement, or the engagement of the people. And that is really how motivated they are to work at your company and be in that role. And I just want to talk about that because that engagement may be one of the biggest levers. So we certainly need the discipline on the technical side, and we need to operate as teams. But the whole company has, there's certain things you can do to really optimize how engaged your employees are. There's 4 different levels that on employee engagement that are talked about, and I think these are really big to think about. And there's tools to help do that, and at least you create an awareness. The first one is the job fit? So when you hire an engineer or other employees, their unique behavior and personality is really important in how they operate. And the better matched they are with their role, the more they will enjoy their work and the better they'll perform. So the um, first part of that employee engagement is their job role. Did I match them well with their sort of natural style and capabilities? Second is their manager, and how's that relationship with their manager, and if it's positive and nurturing and it helps in the development process, that's a great one. The third one is the other people in the company. That's going to affect how engaged they are. If they really enjoy that environment, that community, that's going to be a positive. If it's the opposite, if it's a little bit toxic and there's some issues with organizational health or culture, that's going to be a negative. And then the fourth one is the whole company together. And if the company has some big aspirations and they're excited about it, there's a clear vision, the executive team is aligned on that mission, and it's communicated to the all the employees and all the people that work with the company. So you really operate in those four levels, and this is huge. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with Glassdoor. There's probably some other tools that could help you understand how do your employees feel about working at your company. So you can obviously hire more people and expand and grow, and I think we're going to be in a period of growth. But culture is such a huge lever, huge level. It's a big lever. And so just something to think about, that all these things are happening concurrently. And if you take that time to really consider how to improve how your teams operate, how proactive are your projects, and then what you've done about the culture, all these are improving performance. That means you go faster, you make better decisions, you have more confidence in your development process. And that in itself also boosts the morale. I mean, the reality is we all want to be on a winning team. And if you're moving faster and things are happening, people feel better about it. So all these four factors are key. Employee engagement is really important. There's tools to help sort of identify that, diagnose it, and fine tune it. All the things that we do with people in our company is how the company executes on its plans and its goals. It is the people that bring that forth to a reality. So the better we're connected with the people and the better we fine tune that operation from a talent standpoint, the better our companies will perform. And there's really four parts of sort of that interaction with the people side of the business. One is kind of the design of your organization. How have you designed the organization to meet the goals you have? What's the makeup of people, the organizational structure, and all that? But that's all around people. And then it comes to hiring people. What is that hiring process like? How do you find the right people to match the right role? So the hiring process is really important. And when that doesn't go well, it just has a real damaging effect. The third part is managing. It's also called inspiring. You want to inspire your employees, and so you're training your managers, your management system to really help those employees in terms of management. And then the fourth is really that culture or employee engagement. And if you really work on all those and kind of improve that performance in all those areas in your interaction with people, and they enjoy working in your company, the performance is much higher. And there's a lot of statistics out there. You can see that performance, but that's a great way to kind of grow even before you add more people. And then when you add more people, you're multiplying or duplicating a good model rather than maybe a mediocre model or something less than stellar. So that's really what I want to talk about to kind of wrap up our week focused on growth in the month of May. Hopefully this will be the last time I don't have a haircut this long. I'm sure all of you have had inconveniences with the coronavirus crisis and shutdown and disruption. And hopefully we're going to see the end of that with May, and then June's going to go into a much better time period. So multiply growth. Before you expand, improve the model. And so that model, you're now duplicating something that has a higher performance. That's a much better strategy. I really feel that with what's happening, we're going to see a lot more growth in manufacturing, in product development, especially in the United States. There's going to be a big influx of money, a lot of production coming in from China and other places around the world, and really much more in North America. And so as we anticipate some of this growth, this is a good time to think about how do we fine tune the organization? How do we fine tune our process for performance before we multiply it, or as really as a platform, so when we do expand, we do that in a much more effective way. I think that's kind of what I wanted to cover. I've enjoyed the conversations. June will be, I haven't even thought about what my theme for June will be, but the May module's kind of wrapping up. And I wish the best for each of you. Hopefully all of you are healthy and happy and enjoying springtime and sunshine and growth. All right, well, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk again very soon.